create a life of happiness and help other people and be positive. So I think it more so is just my mindset and how I try to be strong, like consciously. Like if I just immediately was good at guitar right when I picked it up, like that's not really fun. I'd be like, oh, well, this isn't challenging.
Yeah.
Where's the fun in this? There's no reward.
Mm-hmm.
Just think of it as, well, I want to make her quality of life the best that I can now. There's nothing I can do about it, so just make the most out of the situation.
Hello, you beautiful people. Welcome back to the Long-Term Podcast. I'm your host, Avid Villa. Today, we have University of Alberta psychology student, server, and gym bro, Daniel Christie. We will discuss working out, music, guitar, and cars. Daniel is a phenomenal person, and we met just a little over a year ago. And yeah, a lot of workouts and saunas. I've gotten to know how honest and humble Daniel is, very compassionate individual. And it seems that when he goes through a negative time, he's open to letting out his feelings and talking about it honestly with other people, and he's just extremely brave. I am thankful for this guy. He's great. I hope you all enjoy this episode. Everybody, welcome. All right, brother. Welcome to the Long-Term Podcast.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, how's your day so far, man?
It's been pretty good. Just kind of relaxed. Had my morning coffee.
Yeah.
Not too much. Waiting for work.
Yeah. Happy New Year, hey? 2025.
Yeah. Happy New Year. Any New Year's resolutions for you?
For me, man, go to bed early, bro. I have been staying up after 12 every night since our break started after finals. And man, it's terrible because I just think that I deserve this. My mind tells me I deserve kind of that time off, and I just feeling shittier the next day. It's like, I don't know why it does that, but yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah. What about you?
Honestly, not really. Just kind of stay in the same routine of working out and going to school. Maybe don't drink all the time, but
yeah, hopefully we get
not every weekend at least. But
hopefully we get a class together. Hey.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah.
So working out, I know that's a big component in your life. What inspired you to get into working out, and how has that impacted your life?
When I was a kid, I was a lot skinnier than I am now. And I mean, obviously being like a young teenager, you're going to be skinnier until you grow up and mature a little bit. But that kind of inspired me because I was very insecure about it. And so I wanted to change that. That was kind of the main force behind starting to hit the gym. And also my mom was always really into the gym. And so her working out, seeing that, I was like, oh, well, maybe I could do that too. Right. So
yeah, man.
And then it just became a habit, and now I'm just addicted to it. So,
when did this start?
I would say probably grade 6, grade 7, like on and off. Of course, it wasn't like I would work out every day until now, but just like here and there, hitting the gym, that sort of thing. And then now, obviously, it's more of a like everyday thing.
Yeah. What kind of routine are you on right now?
Well, I'm on a basically push-pull legs. So I'll do chest and shoulders, back and bi, then quad-focused leg day. And then I'll take a rest. So I'll do cardio or like abs on that day. And then I'll do chest and triceps, arms, and then hamstring focused with like a little bit of back on hamstring day.
Yeah, bro. That's it's the push-pull legs, and then just adding in your own little spin-offs to it after you get comfortable. How did you start out? Like for me, we had a school gym, and it was just me and my buddies, and our goal was to get huge, whatever that meant. Just seeing a bunch of bodybuilders on YouTube and just never really having the proper form to begin with, but just like doing it for fun, right? One set on this machine and then another set on that machine, and then just flexing for 10 minutes and then another set on that machine. But then eventually some people at the gym would point it out, or some people that were more experienced, and then we'd learn more on YouTube videos. How did you kind of acquire all this knowledge?
Well, like I said, my mom did bodybuilding before, so she would show me a lot. And we had a home gym. And so that's where I started working out. Then once I got a little bit older, I decided, and once I could drive, I would go to the gym just on my own, out of my own volition. And then from there, once I was able to drive, that's when it kind of started becoming a everyday thing, and like a habit, a healthy habit, I would say. So, yeah.
Yeah, bro. Something about the gym, man. It just feels amazing. Hey.
Oh, it's a great way to reduce your stress and, just something to kind of focus on for 2 hours and not think about anything else. Really good outlet, I would say.
Yeah. When you say outlet, can you elaborate on that?
Yeah. Obviously, everyone deals with their own issues and their own stress, and I think it's important to have things to focus on and, ways that you can just outlet your stress, I suppose, or like just to kind of get away from it all, I would say is the best way I could put it.
Yeah. I think for me, it's freedom, man.
Yeah.
Like there's moments where I'm just feeling crushed and life comes out at you, right? And it's just when you're underneath the weights and you forget everything. You're in that kind of flow state. I know for you, guitar is like that too. And then we'll get into that later. Do you have the same kind of flow state of forgetting all your problems? Because I know you've played guitar to me, and it's just I can see that you forget everything around you and you just focus on that one act. Is it similar to you working out?
I would say it's a little bit different, but it's the same sort of idea where when you're doing your set, like it's all you're really thinking about. It's kind of a different feeling. Obviously they're two completely different things, but like generally, yeah, where you're just focusing on one thing, I would say it's similar in that way, where you're just kind of dialed in on what you're doing in that moment and not thinking about all the external stress and anything else going on in your life. It's the same idea in that way.
Yeah. Do you get stressed easily?
I wouldn't say I get stressed easily. When I was a little bit younger, I would say that I did, but I think I've been able to work through it and kind of acquire the tools to not get stressed out and like have that mindset where like stress is temporary. So there's really no point in worrying about it as long as you're able to still like get through everything and work towards something better. I think like obviously you can apply that to any situation, but
yeah. You say when you're younger, you dealt with stress not as efficiently. Why is that?
Maybe more so anxiety, because I'd like overthink and then get worried about it. And it would just like, it would accentuate the stress, I'd say.
Yeah. A lot of kids often suffer that burden of anxiety and overthinking, yet they don't really know what to call it, right? You kind of just act it out by throwing tantrums. And then when you grow up, in hindsight, you realize that, oh, that's why I did that act. Like for me in elementary, man, I was like obsessed with the way I looked. I don't know. I think my mom passed it on because she was really obsessed with the way she looked. She was constantly complaining about like her hair thinning or like the bags under her eyes and like just a bunch of health things about her skin. And then in elementary, it was just like passed on to me, and I just like look in the mirror for hours.
Yeah.
And be like, whoa, like am I good enough? Am I good looking enough? And in hindsight, I didn't know that was like not normal. You're just like, a grade 3 kid just looking in the mirror for hours at a time. That's pretty weird.
Well, it's everyone has their own things, though. I feel, I don't know if I'd say it's not normal. I feel like that's pretty common, actually, especially in like,
you think so?
I think so. I think a lot of people judge how they look, especially when they're younger. I know I did, maybe not to that extent, but like acne and all that stuff. And I'd look in the mirror and be like, oh, that's so gross.
Yeah.
So, but now you're obviously not worried about that, it seems. Well, maybe to an extent, but not as, right?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
You seem like a very confident guy now. So I feel like it's normal when you're a kid to go through stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah. It takes a lot of mental work, though, to be able to battle all those demons, all the like insecurity and doubt. because I also see a lot of people go in the other way, like thankfully I've had family and friends and support, and that has built my confidence. But I do see a lot of guys and girls that go through the other route where it's like, then they dig up this hole and it keeps getting deeper and deeper. And yeah, it's just trying your best at the end of the day.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
Yeah. So do you follow a specific routine or philosophy, and how do you stay consistent when it comes to the gym?
I don't know if I'd say I have like a philosophy or not one that I consciously think of. I think my routine mostly just is try and eat as much as I can and lift heavy weights, to be honest with you. At the end of the day, I'm just trying to put on muscle and like bulk up. I think kind of what I said before maybe is my like subconscious philosophy where I do it just to release stress and that sort of thing and also gain all the other benefits from it. Yeah, I don't know, it's just become habitual for me where it's just something that I really enjoy doing, and it's something that if I don't do it for a while, I start to feel worse mentally as well. So it's important in my life for sure. I think that's if you ask philosophy, I think that's my philosophy is it's important for my mental health.
Mm. There's this study that came out that the people that are stronger are actually better able to cope with emotional burden, and they saw a correlation with people that were able to lift more with things that happened in their lives. And yeah, I can see that within you, man. I think that you have gone through tumultuous times, and I'm sure being strong, you're pretty jacked.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. I try.
You're able to cope well, and you're able to put your thought process in a way that's benefiting you instead of destruction. You seem to be able to gather the courage to be honest and vulnerable and true to yourself. And I've seen that. I've known you for ever since David Pardell introduced us.
Yeah.
You had that one bus ride. Was that last year?
Couple months of first year, last year.
Yeah. I've seen the way you cope is admirable. Like, I really respect it. Was this something that you learned? Was there some core memory of the way you go about things? Because it seems that you're a very resilient person, and no matter how hard things get, you keep marching forward.
Yeah, I don't know if it's I'm sure I've learned it from somewhere, but I think I just try to always think like I don't want to go down a bad path. I don't want negative things in my life to make me do bad things. Like, I'd rather create a life of happiness and help other people and be positive. So I think it more so is just my mindset and how I try to be strong, like consciously, for sure. Also having to be there for like other people in my life, like helping out my mother, of course, and that sort of thing. That's a big part of it as well, is having to be strong for other people too, I would say.
Yeah. When you say having to be strong for other people, is this something that you have carried on? Is this something that you fell into?
Somewhat. Well, as you know, my mother has Alzheimer's, and so I look after her. So that's kind of what I mean. It's like being strong for her and being there for her and helping her. No matter like how I feel about it, I think she brought me up, looked after me. So it's important that I kind of do the same for her. So yeah, it's kind of my view on it.
It's a packed house. I mean, You got George in there too, and
Oh, a little menace.
Jasper?
Jasper, bandit, yeah.
Yeah,
George is the menace of the house, though. He runs it. He's the king of the household.
yeah. For everyone listening, Daniel's got an entire army
Yeah.
in the house with George and
2 cats.
two
Jasper's the
cats,
dog.
dog. But yeah, man, how did that? When you get bad news and you're feeling that sense of loss and you're ruminating on it, how do you go about combating that? Like, do you reflect for a bit? Do you go straight away to the gym? Like, obviously, when you got your news for your beloved mother, like that must have been really tough on you.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Just reflected on it for a while. I didn't try to just like drink for a month or anything straight, nothing like that. I just like would try to go to the gym and play guitar and hang out with friends, stuff like that. I think it's important to also talk about it and not just ruminate by yourself and be positive about it and like work through it in a way where you can come to a somewhat positive conclusion. Like it's difficult to be positive about it, but try and see the brighter side or not. There really is no bright side, obviously, but try and be like, okay, well, it is what it is. Like there's really nothing I can do about it now. So now I just have to do the best that I can in any situation as well, honestly, like not just with my mother, like anything. I think it's important to do that. So
Yeah. Here's the thing with my mindset, and I think I see it in other people too, is when bad things happen to me, I get into this victim mentality spiral, hey? And coming to the gym, it's just so much heavier, and doing the basic necessities like brushing my teeth, washing my face, and then I wake up in the morning with a sense of dread, like, oh, here we go. And instead of your finger getting chopped off, I want to just chop off my entire hand. Like, does that make sense?
it does.
Like,
Yeah.
I make things worse for myself. Now, how do you prevent this from unfolding? Like, is it like, do you find that when bad things happen, that's kind of like a prerequisite to growth and overcoming adversity?
Yeah, I do. I think it makes you a stronger person. And I think I've become a lot stronger of a person. Sorry, just based off the things that have happened to me. Sorry. And also just focusing on work, school, the gym, getting better at your hobbies, make music. I think that's a big way that I kind of deal with it and use it rather than just being like, oh, why did life do this to me? Right. Like there's been times, of course, where I'm like, oh, why me? Why me? But I don't think that really does anything positive for you. I think it just makes your life worse.
Yeah. I ask that all the time, actually. Like every year. Like, oh, why me? Like, why do I have to work out? Why do I have to eat healthy? Like, why can't I just sit down and relax and have all the money in the world? And why can't everybody, all my family members, be healthy? Why can't I be 100% healthy and be happy all the time? Then it's just wishful thinking. It's like, then if you have that, let's say that did happen, then what would be the point?
Yeah. Well, you can't control any of it, right?
Yeah. Then we're just all happy all the time. Then we're just never gonna die, and everything's just kumbaya.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
how would you know what being happy is unless you're unhappy at times? Otherwise, it's just always the same.
That's true. Yeah. That's something that I like to remind myself too. Is, yeah, sure, this bad thing happened, but then I wouldn't be able to experience the good too. And while the bad thing did happen, it doesn't mean that it's for nothing. Like, sure, there's no good thing within it, but you can learn from it and grow.
Exactly.
Yeah. How do you balance your fitness goals with other commitments like school and work?
I think it's honestly pretty easy to balance for me at least, because I do have somewhat like a decent amount of free time. I do work on the weekends and I do full-time school, but like you can always find an hour or two out of your day, I think, to make time for something that's important like that. Um, Obviously not everyone's situation is the same, but I don't find it really too difficult to balance. I think it's more difficult to balance the other things in my life if I don't work out, because it's like more mentally taxing on me if I don't work out.
That's true, hey. I think that I don't know what it is, man, but I don't know if it's like a blessing or a curse because I have to work out or else I'm gonna be on like depression medication or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
I don't know whether I've done it for so long that my body's just adapted or that I told myself that and that's the case when really it doesn't have to. You know when like you tell yourself, "Oh, you need this to live," but then you kind of go without it for a bit and you're fine.
hmm
Like vaping was like that for me. Like I thought, "Oh, I'm going to die if I don't have a vape." But then I took some time off of it and here we are a couple years later. I haven't taken a hit in that time, so
yeah. Well, and once
yeah.
you stop it, you realize how much better you do feel too. Well, I don't know about vaping for you, but
Yeah.
like mentally, I feel better because I used to smoke weed like quite a bit.
Mhm.
Like, I was a stoner for sure, and once I stopped, I was like, wow, I feel so much better, and like I don't do it anymore. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's definitely like mentally, um, mentally, I feel a lot better for sure.
Yeah. Uh for music, uh you you just play guitar?
Yeah, I just play guitar. I would say like I dabble in other instruments, but it's more so just kind of fooling around and practicing. So I wouldn't say I can play them, but yeah, just guitar.
You're a pretty good guitar player, man.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Appreciate it.
How did you start playing guitar and what role does it play in your life?
I'd say it's similar to working out. It's like an outlet, you know. My brother started playing before me, and I just saw him, and I was like, you know what, I can do that too. And I mean, he like dabbles in a little bit. He's not really too serious about it. Just kind of like campfire or on the campfire, that sort of thing. He can still play though, of course. But once I saw him, I was like, I really like this. And then I just got super into it and played it every day. And ever since then, I haven't stopped. And I love it. Been playing since like grade 5 or so. I think it's been 11, 12 years, something like that, around
Oh
there.
wow.
Yeah.
I uh I played guitar starting grade 4, I think, and then I played all the way until high school. But I did it for the wrong reasons. You
Yeah.
know, I hated practicing, bro. I love performing. But then I did some reflection and I realized that I hated it. Like I dreaded practicing every time. And with all things, 99% of it is the training, it's the progress. Only 1% is the reward, right? Finishing a song. Like, how long do you have to take to actually master a song or master a chord progression? It takes a long time before you
Yeah.
actually, can present it to an audience. You just find it enjoyable, just
I
act by
do.
itself.
I do. Yeah. I enjoy the practicing and learning songs. And it's the journey is just as fun as when you get really good at what you're doing, I think.
Yeah, don't you get frustrated though when then you can't get a chord in, your
Oh, yeah.
fingers are intertwined and you're getting the string in with the pinky and you're not supposed to and it's all clunky.
More so before. I think I've gotten good enough now where like I'm pretty good at playing. So sorry, get a little cold here.
Dude, I've had a cold for like a couple of months now, man.
Dude, everyone's
And I was working out with a couple buddies yesterday and they say the same thing. Like, are we just all
yeah.
permanently sick now or
Everyone's just getting sick.
yeah.
Especially
Yeah.
at my work, everyone's been like a little.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
geez. But
Yeah.
anyways,
Mm.
yeah, it doesn't frustrate me as much anymore. when I was not as good before, oh yeah, I'd get annoyed and I'd be like, gosh, I just want to be able to play this song. Why do I keep messing it up? And but no, even if I do mess up now, I'm like, well, it is what it is. I'll figure it out, you know. Like obviously I still make mistakes. Like no one's perfect. But yeah,
Yeah.
it doesn't really bother me. It's kind of just part of it. It's kind of part of the fun.
Part of the process,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
And relating it back to what we talked about earlier, if it just came easy for you, then what would be the point? It wouldn't be as fulfilling.
Exactly. Exactly. Like if I
Uh,
just immediately was good at guitar right when I picked it up, like that's not really fun. I'd be like, oh, well, this isn't challenging.
Yeah.
Where's the fun in this? There's no
It's like-
reward.
Mm-hmm. There's like a lot of people that are really gifted in an area. You see this in child actors and you see this in prodigies. Is they're usually they're never the ones to be world renowned or really successful at a later age because everything came easy for them.
Yeah.
And my dad always talks about this, and he always says that, yeah, it's just you're blessed to have been average, right? Because then you actually have to work for something and it's not just handed to you on a silver platter. And so you can actually take ownership of the things that you accomplish. Like when you try and try again, you fail, you try, you fail, you try, then eventually you get it. And it's like this big burst of fulfillment and enjoyment. And yeah.
No, exactly. It's the reward of getting better. And then you enjoy it more as well, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite genre or artist that influences your playing style?
Yeah, I really like playing like blues guitar. Really like Stevie Ray Vaughan, like John Mayer, BB King, and Jimi Hendrix. Those kind of guys. They're really good. Influenced my play style a lot, I would say. Yeah, their music just is calming. And
So calming rock doesn't do that for you, or some pop songs, or just
no,
R&B?
I mean, obviously depends on the music. Like there's songs that I really like that have nothing to do with guitar that I listen to. Like recently I've been more so listening to not as guitar focused, but I'll still like play guitar, and I always go through different phases of listening to different music, right? But
Yeah.
I would say more so calming and the music itself. Like if you listen to the notes, it's like very relaxing.
Are you in a different phase right now?
Yeah, I'd say so, but just like obviously switch back and forth. There's tons of different music that I like. I'm kind of all over the place, all over the genres and
Yeah. What's your
everything like
favorite
that.
song?
Oh, my favorite song. That's a tough question to answer. I don't know if I'd have an answer for that.
Yeah. Maybe top 3.
Top 3. Even that is tough. It always changes. I don't know if I can give an answer.
Yeah.
I'd say my favorite top 3 artists
Mhm.
would be like Stevie Ray Vaughan, as I said, like John Mayer, and Albert King, let's say. Something like that.
Is there a piece of music or song that you're currently working on or proud of mastering?
The song Lenny by Stevie Ray Vaughan. I've always just kind of been working on it, but I've been able to, like, I learned the general structure of the song, and then I'll try and pick up all the like solo pieces and all the notes myself while I listen to it. And so I'll just play it like multiple times, keep playing it till I feel I kind of have it, and add my own like twist on it. So that's one song that I'm proud of myself for learning or really enjoy playing. So it's a good song. It's fun to play too.
Yeah. I know. What was that song that you played to me at your place in the summer?
It might have been that one,
It was a good one, man.
but
Yeah.
I think maybe I was just kind of fooling around and like improvising. I know I did that for you as well, where I was just making up my own
That was
stuff.
dope. That was dope.
Thanks, man. Appreciate
You
it.
do like campfire stuff as well?
Sometimes. Yeah, there's some songs that I can sing and play, and I'll do it around a campfire, depending on who I'm with, because, sometimes I get a little nervous in front of random people.
Yeah.
Unless I have a couple beers with me, then.
Yeah, man. That's from my two sisters in Australia.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, bro.
They still live there?
Yeah. They're I think they're around 12, 13 now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Love it.
Good
Very
artwork, man.
meaningful.
And this is from Callie. She was on the podcast, Callie Cito. And
Very,
then
very well. Very well done.
my other from my sisters last year.
Your
Again.
coolest sister.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah. So cars. What sparked your interest in cars, and do you have a favorite make or model?
Well, what sparked my interest? My brother, when I was younger, was into cars, and so I'd see him working on cars. And he's 5 years older than me, so obviously, as like the younger brother, you kind of look up to him, and you're like, oh, if he does something, I want to do it too, right? So it just got me interested in it, and started hanging out around him when he was doing it. And then when I got my first car, I started working on it myself. Obviously, saving money too is really nice, doing all the work yourself. So yeah, that's kind of what got me into it. Favorite make and model? That's tough. If I could pick one car to buy, though, I would probably get a 69 Chevelle with the manual 69 Chevelle.
Yeah. What are you working on right now?
I'm not really working on anything right now. I've kind of already done everything to my truck that I need to. The Corvette's just parked away. So once summer hits and I pull out my Corvette and I'm driving that, then I'll do a couple more things to my truck. Just needs like a couple small things, but yeah, no, I already did a lot of work on that guy. Like rebuilt the engine and pretty much the entire front suspension. A couple more things I got to do. A little bit of work on the rear diff and the rear suspension. So it's pretty much good to go for the most part. But yeah.
Is there? See, I'm not a car guy, so I don't really know I can see the thrill of it, speeding and everything, but I see you work on your car all the time, right? And what does that so there seems to be an common factor when it comes to working out and guitar and cars, right? They all kind of make you feel a similar way. Is there a different feeling when it comes to working on cars?
Sometimes anger.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like it's fun. It's like a puzzle, and sometimes things don't always go right. I don't actually get super angry about it, but it can be frustrating. But it's enjoyable. It's kind of a process, and I don't know. It's just fun to see your project completed once you're done it. It's enjoyable to me, and it's like a distraction too, something to focus on. Yeah, I don't know. I just really enjoy it.
Yeah.
Just sitting out in the garage, listening to music, and
Yeah.
hanging out with friends sometimes too, because I have friends who are also into cars, so we'll hang out and work on it together. Or even if they're just hanging out, we're having like a couple beers or something and working on the vehicle. It's a good time.
Yeah. No, you got a pretty sick Corvette, man.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Nice. So how do you go about finding the different types of cars that you're interested in?
Do you mean for buying a car or just in general?
Yeah, like do you watch YouTube videos? Do you watch just read manuals of them or?
Yeah, like I mean, Instagram Reels, they have a lot of different vehicles popping up, and like YouTube videos, of course, sometimes like documentaries, that sort of stuff. I just see a car and I'm like, I really like that one. Or driving different cars too, you learn what you like. Like I used to have a Honda Civic, an SI, and it was fun, but it wasn't really fast enough. So then I wanted to get something a little faster. And I was like, oh, well, I have to have a winter truck as well, or a winter vehicle. And so then I got the truck, and like I realized I wanted the Corvette because they're like moderately priced for what you get. And so yeah, that's kind of how I just navigated through. I just wanted something manual, fast, and muscle car because it sounds good. And I like the look of them.
It's an expensive hobby too, hey?
Oh yeah, it is for sure.
Yeah. Do you go to car meets?
No, I don't. I just kind of do my own thing and enjoy my cars myself. I would be down to go to car meets, but depending on what kind, because a lot of them now are, a lot of the car meets are like younger guys with not to bash anyone's car, but like younger guys with cars that I'm not really necessarily interested in. And I'm like, I don't really care for it too much, right?
Yeah.
So I'd go see like a car show, like an old like classic car show. That'd be really cool. But
Well, it's a whole culture, hey.
yeah,
A
oh
lot of
yeah,
people will, like, select the parking lot somewhere, and then everybody just rolls up in their cars. Now they just talk about cars.
yeah, totally. And there's like so many different um like avenues of car people, right? Or like different cultures in the car world, I suppose. Like some people like JDM cars, like Japanese cars. Some people like American cars, like muscle cars and that sort of thing. Or so many different routes you can go down, or
Yeah, different
things you can
archetypes.
like.
What kind of archetype are you when it comes to like the car person?
Well, I have two American cars, so I would say that is kind of my thing.
What separates it from the other models?
I don't know. I mean, I like all cars. Like I would get a Japanese car. I'd get kind of whatever as long as I like it. I just enjoy the ones that I have, I suppose.
Is
Saw
there
them,
like
I was like, I
a
like that.
a similar shape to them, or a similar
Oh,
kind of design?
not really. I think it's more like a V8. I like the sound of it and like the linear power, the torque. Um, the truck I have, I just like the way it looks and it's cool. It's an old truck. Yeah, I'd say that's kind of my reasoning behind why I got them.
Is that the same truck that you didn't get that replaced, right? The one I drove, you drove
No,
me in?
no. Yeah, I've been
And-
driving the same one. That's the one that I rebuilt,
Okay.
or like generally rebuilt.
Okay. Are you more into driving, restoring, or modifying cars?
I used to be into modifying cars. Like when I had my Civic, I was trying to modify it and do a bunch of different things to it. Now I kind of like the like more stock look and just making them like as is. I still like cars that are modified, but the ones that I have, I prefer like just how they are. If I got something like if I still had the Civic, I would be modifying it. But depends on the vehicle, I would say. Restoring the truck was a lot of fun. That was a good time because it's really fulfilling to bring something back to life that's kind of been not neglected, but it's kind of been run down and it's not in its former glory, I suppose. So it's nice to see it back on the road driving really well. Driving cars, very fun, very fun. I like both my cars are manual and it's I get a lot of enjoyment out of it, and also going fast in the Corvette and doing stupid shit. It's pretty fun too. So
Yeah.
it's kind of a combination of everything. I don't know if I could say I prefer one over the other. They all have their own. There's something about each aspect of it, I would say.
Are car guys usually, or people that are interested in cars, do you think they're better drivers than the average population?
I don't know. It depends on your opinion on what a good driver is.
Person,
Maybe they can like do stupid shit better than.
Yeah.
Sorry, am I allowed to swear on the podcast?
Yeah, no, you can.
my bad.
Yeah.
Maybe they can drive fast and like do stuff like that. But I would say a lot of them are probably worse drivers because they drive like dumbasses.
Yeah.
Not very safe all the time. I try to be generally safe. I don't want to hurt anyone else or anything like that. So
Yeah. I don't know what it is, but I feel safer in the car of a person that is passionate about cars. I don't know what it was, but it's just, or what it is, but it's just, I always think that, oh, they're spending so much time studying the engine and driving that they must be a good driver, even though they're going 30 above the speeding limit.
yeah. No, that's
Yeah.
fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
What's a dream car you'd love to own one day, and why?
Well, I did already say the 69 Chevelle, black.
Mhm.
Also a Porsche GT3 RS, I would say. Kind of mixing it up a little bit. But
I know my a podcast guest. He's a massive car guy, and he got his dream car, and he's been wishing for that car for since he was in his teens. And what makes it a dream car, though? Is it just
I
the
don't know.
look of it, or is it the prestige? Is it
Maybe something they really liked from their childhood. Like when I was a younger kid, I always wanted an Audi R8. So maybe you could consider that my dream car, but it's kind of changed for me over time. Yeah, I don't know. It's a good question. I feel like it's different for everyone. Do you mind if I ask what car it is?
what car? I'll have to search it up.
Yeah, no worries.
I think he's got a bunch of pictures on it too, and it's in his Instagram. Nathan Graham. There it is. This one right behind him.
Beautiful car. I really like those ones. Those are nice. Those are nice cars.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I think for a person that's wanting to get into cars, what would you advise them to do?
Make a lot of money.
Yeah.
I would say before you start working on anything, just do your research and make sure that you don't mess up your vehicle, because it can be expensive and a pain to have to fix mistakes. I know from experience. So, but yeah, I'd say just do your research and be aware of what you're getting into, because it's not a cheap hobby for sure. You don't need a ton of money. Like you can get a cheap car and rebuild it for pretty cheap, like with parts off Rock Auto or something like that. But once you start really getting into it, like it can kind of be a rabbit hole of, oh, I fixed this, well, then I got to fix this. And yeah.
Well, you
And
can
also having the, sorry to interrupt you.
you can save a bunch too.
True, you can. That's a good point. Yeah, like not taking it to the mechanic for sure. But I would say like being a car guy, if you're modifying, like that's when it's kind of gets expensive. But it depends on what you want to do.
Yeah. No, my dad does all the car repairs when it comes to the family's cars, and yeah, we've saved thousands of dollars just because he knows how to change oil, and he knows how to fix the spark plug, and change the tires, right? All the basic stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's a good way to save money with just basic maintenance for sure. You'll save a lot of money in the long run if you just do simple stuff like that. It's also like you kind of need the garage space, which can be difficult for some people too. So I get it if you're living in an apartment or something like that. It's kind of tough to work on your vehicle. But yeah,
And how does one learn?
YouTube or a friend maybe. It's not too difficult if you just like kind of put yourself into it. It's I mean, everyone has different skills, right? But yeah, if you just take the time to learn, like anyone can do it. I do believe that anyone could do it if they really wanted. So
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, bro, it's 2025 is here, and are there any things that you want to accomplish? Maybe not New Year's resolutions, but something that you have been maybe putting off, or something that you want to implement in your studies, maybe a different way of thinking.
yeah, I'd say I have a goal for just studying more and trying to be more focused and getting better grades, because I've been kind of okay with just like getting B's and that sort of stuff, or like B's and C's, just passing, like doing decently well, but I haven't really been too worried about getting like A's or anything like that. So I'd say that's one thing I'd like to focus on, because I'm just focused on so many other things in my life that I'm trying to balance, but I'd like to kind of dive more into school a little bit. Also, getting bigger in the gym would be nice. Getting to like 200 pounds is kind of my goal. Not that weight really means all that much, but that's like a personal goal for me.
And
And just like kind of keeping a good mindset and being positive and just treating everyone with respect. Not that I don't, or haven't before, but like just always being aware of it, I think. Because sometimes, you can be disrespectful without even realizing it. So, yeah.
Yeah. Reflecting back onto 2024, are there things that come to mind of accomplishments or things that you're proud of?
Yeah, the truck. That was a big one. It was the first time I ever really like took apart an engine and put it back together, and it runs great. So I was pretty happy about that. Really, really proud of myself for that. Getting the Corvette, that was pretty cool. That was a cool accomplishment. Yeah, like I mean, there's tons of things that I did in 2024, but like those are the ones that really stick out to me, I would say. And like also just self growth with like who I am as a person that's probably the biggest thing like internally for me, is just like changing as a person, and at least I think, and having a better mindset.
Yeah. It's they say that days are long, but the years are short, man. It all goes by so quick, hey?
Oh yeah, it rips by.
So fast. And it's just all these things happen, and there's really no stopping the time. The sun rises in the east and sets in the west.
Yep.
And whether you don't do the thing that you're supposed to, or you do the thing that you're supposed to, it's still going to rise and set. And there's a lot of people out there that view this world as just meaningless, and they get into this mentality of, oh, like I don't need to get good at that because it's all going to end anyways. But then you could also say the same thing, and I could do all of that because it's going to end. It's it we're going to look back one day and realize that these years were the golden years. Like it was good what we had, cuz up until it's not, right?
Yeah.
And that phase of life just kind of goes away. Like I remember being a kid and just playing with the buddies all the time with no worries in the world, and I thought that it wouldn't end, but it did. Right now we're in the university phase, but then this university phase and then working the part-time job, it's going to end one of these days. And it's constantly reminding ourselves that, oh, these are the golden years.
Yeah. You got to live in the moment for sure and enjoy what you have, because you never know what you have until it's gone, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
For yourself, would you say there's like things in 2024 that you accomplished, or something you're really proud of?
I released 109 episodes on this podcast. I ran 3 marathons. I ran 2 ultra marathon, or I attempted 1 ultra. I did that the previous year, 2 ultras. And I didn't finish, but I gave it my best. Abstained from all drugs pretty much, except for shrooms. But yes, very, very proud of how far I have come. Just always constantly augmenting the mind, body, and soul to do better and to be better. And while things aren't perfect, because I ruminate on a lot of things, you still get up and go to the gym. You still put a smile on your face for the people that matter. And even if you have this ambient feeling of just worry of not feeling good enough, you still treat other people with kindness. That's probably the biggest thing I'm proud of each year. Of no matter how tough things get, you still treat other people with kindness. Because I feel a lot of people use that as an excuse, their hurt, their pain, and they inflict it onto other people because that's what they feel. You know?
Yeah. No, I agree. I think a lot of people I think a lot of people mistakenly kind of, what's the word I'm looking for?
Project.
Project project their own issues onto other people, which is unfair, you know, and I don't think that's the way to do it. But
Yeah.
you can't really blame someone for acting out of emotion in a time of difficult times. I try to remember that when people are being a certain way, I try to not like blame them necessarily and be like, well, why are they doing this? You never know, right? So
That's true. It's
don't hold it against them. I try to not hold it against them, at least.
Yeah, I know from the stories you've told me as a server, you meet quite the group of people sometimes, say.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, honestly, most people are really, really great. Like, I meet a lot of really amazing people, but there can be a lot of rude people.
Yeah.
You never really know what they're going through, though. So I try and just whatever, not really my problem necessarily. Just try and not focus on it. They're not doing it because I've hurt them. They're doing it because they have their own reasons. So I try to not get upset about it. And sometimes try to maybe figure out a way where I can like not poke at them or pry, but get them to maybe like open up a little bit and still like talk to them and be like, kill them with kindness in a sense. And honestly, a lot of the times people that are rude or mean, once you just, if you don't react and you keep talking to them and like in a good way, like you got to read the situation. A lot of times they'll kind of lighten up and be like, oh, well, I don't know why I was being like that. Not every time, but a lot of times.
That reminds me of the times where there'd be other people annoying me, and I would make the effort to get to know them, and that annoyance would dissipate. And I think it works the same way, where if you got somebody who's frustrated at you, they're annoyed at you. If you not necessarily pry, but if you try to build rapport and understand them, then it definitely alleviates the tension.
Yeah.
Not 100% of the time, because there's just people who are stubborn, who see that as, and then they add a little bit of malicious intent or of a malicious narrative to what you're trying to do. Like, yeah, Daniel's trying to be nice to me because he's trying to get a tip, or he's just trying
obviously.
to be, obviously, right. But it's just, he's trying to look down on and be condescending. You know, they try to put this narrative when really you're just trying to do your job. You're trying to be respectful.
Yeah.
Or you're just trying to be a good human being.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like most people, they're going to tip how they tip, unless, you know, you do a terrible job. But I try to not worry about that too much. It just kind of comes as it does. Like it is what it is. So like, honestly, when people are being rude, I'm not trying to be like, oh, I want your money, I want your tip. It's more like, well, I'm going to get paid either way, no matter what. Like I have other tables too. So, you know, just try and like make the most of that interaction and that time.
And it's internalizing that you're not going to please 100% of people.
Yeah.
There's just going to be a subsection of people that just despise you for whatever reason. Maybe it's
exactly
because of the tone of your voice. Maybe it's because of your outfit. Maybe it's that one word you said that they thought was demeaning, which you didn't mean. And there's all these host of reasons. But then as long as you have it within yourself and you're confident that what you're doing and saying is true to yourself and it's rooted in honesty and the truth, then it's fine. You try your best, right?
Yeah, you can't control other people's actions. You can only control the way that you react.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that you can't control, hey?
Yeah.
And that's something that I always remind myself of I can't control the way I look. I mean, I could to an extent, but I was born with what I've got, so I need to accept myself in a way. I can't control the weather. I can't control just what other people think. So why obsess on those things? Why not just control my diet, my mindset, my effort? And it's liberating to feel like you're in control of things versus just going, oh yeah, I'm this and that. I'm oppressed and I don't feel like life is going my way. It's like, yes, you could find evidence for that, or you could find motivation and evidence for being a person that takes initiative, and actually treating people with respect and kindness. And that in itself would culminate to a life worth living, at least for the day,
Yeah.
No,
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Because you can project all the way 5, 10, 15 years. You have no idea. Like you and I could sit here and talk about our goals even for the year, but even then that scope is too far out. Like we don't know what Daniel Christie is going to be like 2026. We just don't know. But we do know what he's going to be like within the day, or at least we have a good gauge, And still, even then, it's still uncertain.
Yeah. No, I think it's important to just live for the day and for the moment. Like, I think if you get super caught up in where you want to be in a year, well, for one, you might disappoint yourself. And two, if you're always focusing about that, then sometimes it can be difficult to focus on what you have right now.
Yeah.
So have you found that you've gained a lot of, have you found you've gained a positive mindset from thinking like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am not immune to negative thinking. As for 2024, there was a lot of negative thinking, even for last week. But it's putting a stop to that, and it's the constant work of looking for things to be thankful for. Like I have a gratitude journal, and for 2024, I used to just put little words like I'm thankful for sleep. I'm thankful for, I think your name's made it on there a bunch of times.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Thankful for you too.
Yeah. Thankful for the gym. But now I'm going to make an effort this year to make gratitude or list gratitude out for specific things. Like, the episode with Daniel and how he taught me about this car or this mindset, or that one workout with my two buddies, and I'll put their names down and I'll add something that made that special. There's a constant work that I need to do. And I also have a separate journal to get my thoughts in. The constant effort, because if I don't do that, I'm in a whole world of hurt. Right? The constant working out, the constant like eating healthy and reaching out to people and saying Happy New Year and Merry Christmas. And I've kind of just accepted the fact that if I don't do these things, I will be a miserable piece of shit.
Oh,
yeah.
I really look up to that. Like, constantly reassuring yourself for being positive and grateful for the things in your life. I think it's important to do that. Otherwise, you lose scope of what you have. So I really respect that.
Thank you, man. But I think the natural inclination for the human mind is just to view negative. I mean, evolutionarily, we have always prioritized the snake over the 100 puppies. You know what I mean? 100 puppies, they're cute, they're positive, you can hug them. A bunch of cats, right? And then there's the snake, the piranhas, and that can kill you. But in our day and age, there's really no need to prioritize the negative because they're not going to kill you. No, I heard that from an evolutionary scientist, so I thought that was really insightful.
That is interesting.
Yeah. Has that always been the case with you, though? I know you're very understanding with the people that you serve or the people that you come across that are a bit of dickheads. Initially, do you find it really hard to deal with emotionally, or does it just kind of go off of your skin like butter? Like,
when I first started working at Joey, actually is when I first found out about my mom. Like pretty much the first month of working there is when I found out. And so like after that, it was very difficult and I wasn't the same person as I am now. So it would be more hard to like deal with these negative people and I would get more upset and like internally frustrated, right? So no, at first it hasn't always been like this, to answer your question. But I think over the past like half a year or even like year maybe, it's been a lot easier. I'd say like half a year. I've been able to deal with it a lot better and see it from a different mindset, especially being like, well, you never know what someone is going through. They could be going through so much, and you just don't know because you don't know them. I try to look at it that way, whether or not that's the case, whether they are just a shit person. Like, not everyone is nice, not everyone's a kind person, but either way, you don't know. So I think it's important to kind of see it that way. And yeah, no, it's a lot easier for me now than it was before. But I think having experienced that and me be like mentally like kind of negative and not always understanding, I think going through that and being like, wow, I don't really like feeling that way or being that kind of person, it's made me who I am today. So I wouldn't change anything. Like, I think the path you're on is just the path you're on, and you got to just learn how to cope with it and then learn from it.
I respect that, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember you served me back when you first just started working out, and you don't remember, but I do.
Yeah.
But yeah, you had mentioned that you have no idea what a person is going through, and as you were serving me, I would have had no idea what you were going through, and you still treated us respectfully and still did your job as a server. And then other people blow up at you or you blow up at other people, and it's just this lack of understanding, right? This lack of just taking the time to reflect and go, yeah, you never know what's happening in that person. They could be suffering from crippling depression, or just somebody in their family died, or somebody was in their family they're very close to was diagnosed with a severe case of dementia. And it's all these things that you really need to take into account for a better future and a better environments for all of us.
I completely agree.
Yeah, man. What was your reaction when you first found out about the diagnosis?
Probably shock and not really fully understanding, and just like, why me? Or not why me, more like why my mom, right? Because obviously I was more concerned about her. Like, yeah, I'd say more so shock and just like, there's no way this is actually happening. Like, it's just surprise. But yeah, over time, I've been able to somewhat accept it and just think of it as, well, I want to make her quality of life the best that I can now. There's nothing I can do about it, so just make the most out of the situation. And so that's kind of what I try and do, and just try my best every day. And she does too. She's trying her best, and she's an amazing woman. I absolutely love my mother.
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah, no, she is.
For people that have experienced or just found out that a person close to them was diagnosed with some form of dementia or Alzheimer's specifically, how would you advise them to go about this? Are there any tips for being able to cope or assisting that person that is close to them?
I would say for assisting the person that's close to them, I have some tips. It's not their fault. Like, they don't want that. It can be difficult. It can be frustrating. But just remember, like, if you are going through this personally, the advice I would give is just remember, it's a disease and it's not something you can control or they can control, and they're trying their best as well. So just try and be kind to them and understanding to them, because it's hard for everyone. So
yeah, man, it's it's unfortunate that things like that exists, but
Yeah.
it's part of life, and we can't eradicate it fully. It takes a lot of progress and work, and all we can do is just try to be there for the people that we love and hope for the best.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But yeah, bro, thank you so much for coming on the long-term podcast.
Oh, thanks so much for having me. It's been a great time, and I'm happy to come on and chat with you and share about my life. So.
Yeah. I'm thankful we met, man, and to more workouts and more talks and study sessions, which I don't think we've done. I know we
no usually the gym and the sauna sessions, right?
But just a lot of yapping.
No,
man.
I'm thankful that I met you and grateful to be on this podcast. So thank you.
Yeah, man. And then you got work in what, like an hour and a half?
Yes, but that's okay.
Like a hard worker. Yeah, that's
Make
good.
some money.
Yeah, hell yeah. But yeah, as always, to everyone listening and watching, there is a place for you in this chaotic world. Never lose hope, strengthen your faith, and keep it long term. Daniel, Christie, everyone.
Thank you.
Peace.